Here, and now we're into our stand in the gap moment. Stand in the gap, and this is a special stand in the gap moment because we're going to incorporate what the current events are into what our study is about. What our study this week is about. And as I indicated, it's been a heck of a week, but what
Turn the volume down for me.
okay.
Thank you.
It's been a heck of a week, and one thing that it shows, because there's an attempt by our president to overcome or overthrow the choice of the people, who over 6 million who voted for him over the challenger and the loser. But he wants to say, we don't care what the people are trying to do here. We want to, I want to be president anyway, and so I'm gonna do whatever I can. I'm going into the courts and file all these lawsuits. And of course, we know what happened through the week was every time he went in there, he got smacked. And if he did get some type of benefit from it, it was very small. And basically, any benefit he got was to disenfranchise a few people. And so, as some people said, he had a clown show that he sent on there, in front.
Oh my goodness, that Rudy Giuliani clown show was, oh my gosh, that was a circus tent.
And it's like a Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey. There's a sucker born every minute. And so you send those in. The problem they had is that it was a bad design, it was a bad plan, because when you go into court, you got to have some proof, to get to first base. And they weren't able to get to first base on a lot of them. And then the wild thing is you had some attorneys who were representing them that gave up on it and withdrew and weren't going to pursue that madness anymore. And of course they should, because they're officers of the court, and if they bring frivolous actions, they can be slapped and sanctioned. So they took the path of least resistance.
And then, they didn't want to look so stupid as they were looking when the judge said, well, do you have any evidence of this? And they said, well, no, Your Honor, I have none.
You got to respond. And being an attorney, I understand that. But they're attorneys too, the ones walking in there. So some of them who know that, and attorneys know that, they're doing it just because somebody told them to do it. And regardless of whether we win or not, take it on in there. And what it shows is how easily men turn from what they know or their faith or whatever, and give in to temptation, power, wealth, greed, and end up worshiping idols, basically. Because those people know better, and we know they know better. I mean, also, when your legal challenges get kicked out unceremoniously out of court, and you're losing like 31 out of 33 or whatever it was, then what's your alternate plan? Most people say, well, I'm done, I can't win that. No, I'm gonna keep going here, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep saying that, these things have happened, fraud has happened and all that, even though I told the court it was no fraud. But fraud is going on, and we're going to go straight to the state, to those electors who have to make a decision to certify the election. And we're going to see, even though Biden won that state's popular vote, we're going to ask them, don't vote for him in the electoral college, vote for Trump, because of all this fraud and everything, which they can't prove and have never proven. And so they do that, and they grab a couple of people. They start with Michigan, and Trump gives them an irresistible offer to come to the White House and talk, and they know what this is going. They know what's going on, because Trump's not even hiding it. And so they go to the White House and listen to his spiel, come out and say, we haven't changed our mind, but we did get to see the White House. So that didn't work. So now he's going to try to get the Pennsylvania people to come in. He's all upset because Georgia certified their election, and he's probably going to ask for a recount. Even that would be the second recount. actually the third count, but the second recount, and he's just not going to give up. So don't even assume he is going to give up. He's going to keep going through this. The problem,
I think they're going to have to drag him out of the White House.
Well, you might have to, and it's not only him; it's the cronies that keep supporting him and all that. So, we're at a strange time, and you look at they say 70-80% of Republicans believe that the Democrats stole the election, and the question, okay, what are you basing that on? What facts are you basing that on? 70-80% of you? Give me a break. They don't have anything to base it on, and as a result, what they're basing it on then is just their faith in the guy at the top. And so, what is that? What is that when you have no proof and you just believe it anyway? That's called faith. So is Trumpism now a religion?
Well, it looks like a cult for sure.
It definitely could be a cult, because if the cults we know drag their people down to destruction, and it seems like
Jim Jones,
all those cults that are out there. So you might have the creation of a new religion here. It's called Trumpianity, or Trump-lom.
Monica said some are bullied, blackmailed, and pressured. That's how you get into that religion.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then Michelle said the internet said Rudy's getting $140,000 a day no matter what. So I guess he can look like a fool and a clown.
That can make you stay the course.
Yeah.
And maybe get a better hair dye or something. I don't know. But in any event, one of the things that really bothers me is the appalling silence of good people. All the Republicans aren't bad people. Matter of fact, the majority of them think they're good people and all that. But the silence, the appalling silence, is incredible. Because what people don't understand, and I was watching a broadcast from one of the commentators who said that Donald Trump has exposed a weakness in American democracy, and he definitely has, because you have to understand that most of you thought that we were a pure democracy whereby the one who had the most votes wins, and it's not designed that way. That Constitution is not designed that way. You do have a popular vote, but that only gets you to electors. And apparently there's a gap somewhere in the Constitution, directly in there, whereby it may be possible for these electors to say, we don't care what the people voted for, we're going to give our votes to this guy who lost. And is that democracy? Well, anyway, hopefully it doesn't work for him, and it's not going to work for him. It's not going to work for him. But it has exposed something that once we're aware of that kind of thing, we need to shore it up. We need to make sure that the next guy who saw that says, hey, Trump, because he was a bumbling idiot, wasn't able to pull it off, but I'm smarter than him and I can pull this off. And so you run to the same thing down the line. So we have a little work to do to shore that up for the people. We the people.
We need some new laws. We need some new laws. And really thinking about this whole 4 years, some of the things that Trump has done, they're illegal. But he's the president and he got away with it because he's the president. We can't have that.
Well, we'll see what happens when the hounds of the law go after. When we tell them, okay, eat,
Well, you know what I told you. I said 1600 Black Lives Matter. Around 1201, the AG from New York and the Southern District of New York prosecutors will be standing right out there.
Yeah, we'll see. And what happens should happen is not to stand for the type of illegality and just unethical behavior and thought that it seems to be prevailing on the one side. Can't have it because it'll take root, it'll grow, and it will destroy. It will destroy. America always thought that they were invincible and invulnerable to these kind of things. Trump is letting you know, no, you're not. No, you're not. All right. Well, you know what? As I go over this study, and I make adjustments, I taught this this class, and we're still in the moment right now. But I taught this class initially about 10 years ago. So as I go over and update and review certain things, there's certain things, and I review each of these broadcasts and make sure there's something in there that I don't need to correct or shore up or whatever. And there was something last week where I believe it was Brenda had said something, and we had talked about before about belief in angels. Belief in angels. And just to clarify, there's nothing wrong with belief in angels. Worship of angels is the problem. And you'll find some of the books that were not allowed to be in the canons, allowed to be in the Bible. One of them was a book that advocated worship of angels. And then if you've been looking at your outline, there was an adjustment I need to make to the 5 pillars of Islam. We'll get into that because in the outline we deal with 1 pillar, and there are 5 pillars. So we'll get into that. And I want to thank my father-in-law for sending me something on that, and we will get into that. But see, those kind of things, as I go over those can be fixed. Those can be fixed. And nobody's perfect. Only God is perfect. Jesus is perfect. So understand that. I know I had a lady in one of my classes one time whereby I had put in the outline. These outlines are in depth and all that. And I had put in a citation to a verse in the Bible, and there was a typo in it. And as she was looking through that, she discovered that citation didn't relate to the verse that I said it did in there. And she was appalled. She was so appalled, And it's hard to let people know I'm not up here saying I am perfect.
You perfect for me.
I make mistakes. Of course I do. But that doesn't mean that I'm trying to mislead you or anything like that. It's just a mistake. We corrected it. I gave the right citation. It was over, but I really haven't seen that person since then. So I guess they were so appalled it was just over, All right. Well, and anyway, those things can be fixed. But see, the thing that can't be fixed is your choice for salvation. Because once you get to that point, whatever you chose can't be fixed. So you have to make sure that you choose the right thing. That's why we're here on Cross and the Crescent. Because you have a choice to make. You have choices to make. And what we're studying is Christianity versus Islam. Now, understand, there are other religions out there. There are other paths that say you go this way. But we're focusing on Christianity and Islam. Okay? Why? Because 1 and 2 largest religions in the world. Billions of people. Christianity first, Islam second, but growing. We know that. And then you got everything else is picking up the scraps, really, when you think about it. So, focusing on Christianity versus Islam, which is this study, of course, and both claim to have an exclusive path to salvation. Follow me, salvation over here. No, follow me, salvation over here. And so, it gets back to a point that I made, and I'm making again, about absolute truth. Absolute truth. You can't have an exclusive path to salvation here and another one here, and both of them are right. Can't be. One's right, one's wrong, or both are wrong. And that should be an absolute in your mind as to that. Now, this study is a study of Christian education, emphasizing the Christian path to salvation, but we want to show you this other 1.5 billion, what 1.5 billion people believe also, and let you know, because you have to make a choice between them. And understand that there are serious and there are stark differences between Christianity and Islam. One is telling you it's the same as the other. Islam's saying that. Basically, it's the same thing. You know, there's no difference and all that kind of thing. And there is. And there is. So, looking over the notes from 10 years ago, when I was researching this, and I was going through one of the books I used to get my information, and understand that it takes a lot of study and a lot of research to do this study. But I put I written a note in the book, and you know, I wrote in the book, so I can't give it to anybody. It's all written up and everything. And I do that sometimes. But what I wanted to do was what I want to share with you is this thing I wrote about 10 years ago that puts this study into perspective, that I want to share with you at this time. Because I look at the, as you know, we talked, and I've talked about it enough, so you should understand the near beer phenomenon, okay? But let me put it in a different way, because some people, you know, will say, well, I never knew there was 3-2 beer, you know? So, but what if the devil, now everybody accepts the concept, most people accept the concept of the devil, and how corrupt he is, how lying, how deceiving, etc. And we can agree on that. What if the devil wanted to control men? What do you mean he wanted to control men? Obviously he does. Well, yes, he does. But understand what else the devil wanted. The devil wanted to be God. He saw God and God's position. He said, I kind of like that. I want to be him, so I want to get him out the way so I can rise up to that level. So what if the devil wanted to control men by creating his own religion? And if you think that's far-fetched, don't. Because if you look at God, he has the people that worship him and the religions that support him and worship him, and the devil says, well, I want to be like that, so I want to have my own religion. So what if the devil wanted to control men by creating his own religion in contrast to an existing religion? He would not create one that is totally opposite to the existing one. Why? Because nobody would go for it. How many Christians you gonna walk up to and say, hey, I know your parents and grandparents and your family and everybody believed in Jesus, but I don't want you to believe in Jesus now. I want you to believe in this. Now, you're going to get a few people, but you're not going to get a lot. You're not. So, what's he going to create then? He would create one that is totally opposite to what you believe, but he would make you think that it's not opposite.
Because he's a deceiver.
Because he's a deceiver. That's what he does. So, he would create one that is totally opposite but does not look like it is. And he would adopt certain aspects of the one that you believe, but change certain conclusions and all that. So what he presents to you is something that looks just like what you already believe in, and tell you it's the same. And you say, well, if it's the same, then there's no problem with me believing this or going down this road with you. Because he's a deceiver. And most importantly, he would not want the people to know that he's the one behind this new religion. Because how many of you Christians would follow the new religion if you knew it was the devil that was the one presenting it and trying to get you? Wouldn't do it. You would not do it. So he's not going to reveal himself to you as to who he really is. Why? Because that's what the devil is. That's what he did to Adam and Eve. So he would not even want you to delve into who's behind it. Don't even think about that. He would say that you can't know me. You know, understand where I'm going with you, but don't look into who's behind it. And Because most people in religions want to know, okay, I want to know my God. I want to have a personal relationship with my God. And so the devil can't have you having a personal relationship with him, because you're going to know who he is then. And you're not going to go for it. So what does he say to make you, who wants to have this personal relationship, or instinctively want to have it? He's going to say, oh no, you can't know me. Why? Because I'm so far above you. I'm over here and you're over here. You know what that is called? Transcendence. Meaning you can't transcend from where you are to where I'm at. And that's why I send you a prophet. So, if the devil wanted to create his own religion, he would create one that looks just like Islam. Because everything I just said about that religion, that the devil, if he wanted to create one, fits up to a T. Islam. Now I know there are going to be some people who say, wait a minute, what are you talking about? And all that. Think about it. I want you to think about it. And why do I want you to think about it? So, because salvation depends on it, on what you believe. If you believe Islam, then go with Islam. If you believe Christianity, go with Christianity. But understand, it's a choice that you have to make. And like Tony Evans says, make your choice. But since eternity and salvation depends on it, you better be right. You better be right. So that's why we're studying this. So you can know yourself what is right. And then maybe you can talk to other people. You see, because this Christian education program says that the road that you choose here for Islam will lead you to destruction. You know, your sons, you may have sons, daughters, and relatives or friends who are on that path to destruction. The question is, do you love them enough to care? The question is, if you do care, do you care enough? Do you love them enough to try to turn them from eternal destruction? Will you stand in the gap for them? Or just watch them march to eternal destruction? Your choice. But do it with your eyes open, without blinders on. And that's why we study. All right. That's your stand in the gap moment. Hopefully it was a little long, I know that. But it's necessary, and it feeds right into our study. So that's why it's okay. All right, well, let's get into